Welcome to episode 2 of Hear Her Story, a podcast created and produced by the Women in Manufacturing Association. My name is Allison Graylis, president of the Women in Manufacturing Association and Education Foundation. Today, I sit down with Shameka Lewis. Shameka was recently promoted to Associate Global Manager of Environmental Health and Safety at Mattel. Shameka shares how she navigated a major career change from healthcare to manufacturing and how she stays busy and motivated as a single mom with college-age children. Here's Shameka's story coming up in just a few moments. Welcome to Hear Her Story. I am so excited to sit down and have a dialogue today with Shameka Lewis. She is Associate Manager of Global EHS with Mattel, Inc. I am ecstatic to have this conversation with Shameka. I still remember back to when Shameka first reached out to me. I think it was through email and said, gosh, I just found out about your organization. How can I help? How can I get involved? And I was so delighted to hear from her. I've always been a Mattel fan. I have a long history with loving Barbie. And so not only loved hearing from her and her company affiliation, but was so excited once I got to look into Shameka and her history and her expertise. So thrilled to have a discussion with her today about her career in manufacturing, how she got started, what inspires her, and a little bit about her life. So before we dive into your career, Shameka, I wanted to kind of let our listeners get to know you a little bit better. How do you enjoy spending your downtime? Which I know we have such a plethora of both of us, I'm sure, on a daily basis.
Well, downtime is kind of new for me. I was a single mom to two great kids. My daughter, who's now 24, my son is now 21. When they were in school, they were always, in a sport or doing something. And then going off to college kind of has left me like, okay, the kids are grown. I have my degree. Now what? So, I do live downtown in Fort Worth. So I enjoy walking down to the park, reading books. I'm a huge, huge football fan, college and NFL. So when football season is over, I'm really struggling during downtime, but that's typically how I spend, my downtime these days. And I have a brand new grandbaby. So he is totally like taking up my time and giving me a run for my money.
Interesting. So you have kids, you said, was it 22 and 21?
24 and 21.
24 and 21. So, that 20 somethings, when kids get to that age where they're more independent. And I know even just for me with a 15 and 14-year-old, when they're in these ages, when they're more dependent on you, things are so intense. And so I can't imagine getting to your stage. I always think of graduating to that stage when things maybe are less intense and you're not involved in all of those running, as you said, to activities, sports, extracurricular, and you have just time for yourself. So that must be kind of a new and different stage, as you said, to probably adapt to.
Yeah, it is. Like sometimes the quiet in the house almost drives me nuts. It's like something needs to ring, cry, yeah, don't touch me, or something needs to happen.
So walking, I know that was one of my 2020 newfound passions, was walking during pandemic, because I think we're all again kind of housed in home, life, work blend of kind of this mesh of everything colliding, and just that escape to get outside, to reflect, to enjoy the outdoors. Do you listen to things on audiobook? Or are you just enjoying the walk and kind of your views as you go out walking each day, or as often as you go?
It's just enjoying the walk. I really don't like walking on a treadmill in a gym for whatever reason. Like I like the outdoors. I like to just just see nature, hear nature. So I really just try to just take it all in. I've tried to like go to my little gym at my complex and just on the treadmill looking at the wall or the TV. Is like I can look at the TV in my apartment. I want to see
Yeah.
something different.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way. When I'm walking, I like to absorb my surroundings, and I have started to listen to some audio things as I'm walking as well, because I'm trying to increase my distance. Because that's one of the benefits of this pandemic has been not spending time in airports and on planes and
Yeah.
traveling. You can actually carve out time throughout the day to kind of take a break from work, which I think is so beneficial, to just kind of restart throughout your day, or just kind of supercharge as you get into the second half of your day. So how has your work changed and kind of how you work over the past year? So obviously 2020 was, it's called many things. most of which are not too positive of phrases. So how has your work changed in the last year because of pandemic and COVID?
It's crazy because last year I felt like I worked more. Like I end up being so overwhelmed some days. And I'm global, so I have my North America things going on. And then when the sun goes down for us, it's coming up in Hong Kong. And then they sending emails. And if I'm up because I haven't really done anything all day, then I'm answering them back. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm just working all day long. I don't work this hard when I was going to the office or when I'm traveling. So it was a lot, and I had to just figure out, like, okay, I have to get up, I have to set up an office space, and when I'm done I have to like walk away, shut it down, and call it a day until tomorrow. Like, as long as I'm working or they see me online, they're going to just keep coming at me. So
Yeah.
I had to and it I didn't learn that probably till like September. So
Yeah.
it took me a while to like shut it down and really put a cap on it to really get back my personal time for myself.
That's so important. I think we all experienced that this past year is that work looks so different. What used to be more of a traditional 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, whatever schedule you're on, now is such a unique and different thing. And I think as you spoke to, it blends into all hours, all days. I find sometimes now some of my most productive time is Saturday mornings, which never in a million years would I have found myself, I think, working Saturday and Sunday mornings. But it's a good time just to catch up, to get prep, to deal with things that maybe didn't get dealt with during the traditional work week. So I think it is unique, the hours. I can't imagine having global responsibilities with time zones, as you said, that are so different than what you're experiencing real time where you are. So how have you dealt with that with your kind of team or those that you work with? Do you just set a boundary for yourself to say, okay, I'm not answering emails after 8 p.m. or 7 p.m.?
Typically, like, I'm not a morning person, so I let everyone know, do not put anything on my schedule before 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, or I will reject it. So I'm just not a morning person to start with. So I get up and get to work a little later so that I can stay working, past 5, because a lot of my meetings are like 6:30, 7:30. So I try to at least run until like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, because for whatever reason, I'm more creative at night than I am during the day. Like some nights I'm just sitting in bed like, I need to get a notebook because I'm just having all kind of ideas. But during the day, I struggle. Like, can I get back to you? Like, I don't really know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I put a cap on the morning. Like, I take the morning when I do get up to just kind of like relax, figure out like what I'm gonna do, what's my main priority today, instead of like just jumping straight into like work calls at 8 a.m. because yeah, I would just get totally lost in the day.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not a morning person. And early on with team members, as they join our WIM team, I'll share that my personal preference is no meetings before 9, if at all possible, because I do similar to you. I feel just zapped creatively. Like I don't feel like my creative juices are yet flowing. I have tried to get into the practice, if possible, to sometimes work out early in the morning, so as to try to supercharge maybe my energy level or my creativity. But I'm like you. I often get my best ideas at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I used to stay up really late, and I found that I was just getting myself exhausted and run down because I would stay up really late and then I'd be up really early and not maybe getting enough Z's and quality sleep as I needed to. But yeah, I'm the same way. I think it's interesting though, because we all have our different patterns. And when we're most creative, when we're most productive, and again, my productivity levels I find to be the same, that matches with the creativity levels. I'm most productive at knocking things out at night,
Yeah.
versus that morning to-do list, whereas other people can be on at 6:30 and they're hitting it hard and getting lots of
Yeah.
stuff done. So I know I had lots of goals for 2021, as I think I always set for myself as we get to New Year's. And I think fitness is always on the top of my list. I had kids back to back, and I laugh because I'm still trying to lose my pregnancy weight, which was my kids, as I said, are 15 and 14. So it's taken me forever to get onto this path or to get more committed. So what type of professional and personal goals did you set for yourself for 2021?
For my personal goals, I just want to live a healthier lifestyle. Having my grandbaby, especially during the pandemic time, just made me just want to be here longer. I want to see him have kids and, just that whole thing. So just learning to be healthier and to live a healthier lifestyle. Like my daughter is vegan, and let me tell you, when she started that, I was like, oh my God, you just keep your vegetables over there. I'm going to eat my meat. I don't care. And what I noticed is that, I slowly started giving up certain things. I refused to tell her. I refused to give her the satisfaction that she had any kind of influence on me. But I just really want to live a healthier lifestyle. Like working out, I really try to do like something aggressive and, work out, but I figure, Sarah made Spanx for a reason, so let's just use it.
Yeah, I similarly have set a lifestyle goal for myself as well. And I think it is the kids that have done it for me, looking at them and saying, gosh, I want to be there when they get married. I want to be there when they graduate college. And I want to live a healthier lifestyle. I think honestly, too, I see a lot of connectivity with this pandemic giving us all that opportunity to pause and say, gosh, when I was on the road and traveling other week, I made some really poor decisions on food choices. Often I'd get to a hotel late at night, hadn't had dinner, and I'd have a glass of wine and fries for dinner, or something really stupid and silly and not too very healthy. In the past 10 years, more than 3,000 new apprenticeship programs have been established within U.S. manufacturing, representing 128% growth within the industry. This isn't surprising since registered apprenticeship programs give employers access to a diverse pool of talented potential employees. The Women in Manufacturing Association has partnered with Jobs for the Future to connect our members and their companies with a streamlined way of recruiting, retaining, and training women in manufacturing through their own registered apprenticeship programs. For more information on how to build your own registered apprenticeship program, please visit our website at womeninmanufacturing.org.
My professional goal is to get my CSP. It's a certified safety professional license. It's really huge to have that. It shows a mark that, you're really a professional in your career and you got the credentials to prove it.
Now, the certified safety professional designation, how does that work? Is it, certain courses you have to take? Is it like a 2-3 year process? Is it something that you've been working on for a while?
It can be up to a 2 to 3 year process. So typically you would be a ASP first, which is an associate safety professional, which means you've been to college, you've got a bachelor's, you've worked so many hours in safety. But if you graduated from a particular school that is either accredited or has met the organization's approval, then you graduate with the GSP, which is a graduate safety professional, and you skip the ASP part. You can just go straight into CSP. So CSP is technically 2 parts, but if you graduate with the right credentials, then you don't have to take 2 different tests. You're only going to take that one, the CSP.
So is your goal to get this done, this whole certification, by the end of 2021?
Yes, yes.
Okay. That's a good goal to have. I know there's an accreditation or a licensure designation for association professionals, and I've been now saying that for 20 years that I was going to work on. Not yet achieved. So obviously in your role and responsibility this year and last year must have been a challenging one, how to keep employees safe, how to keep employees feeling comfortable in workplaces that are more challenged when you have to deal with, requirements on distancing, requirements on screening. So how has pandemic influenced your role and responsibilities? I've got to think it's made your work a lot different.
In a major way. I have sites in California, here in Texas. We have the China plants, Mexico plants. So it's like, okay, we got to get everybody on the same system. It's kind of what we eventually had to do because everybody had their different things, and we just had to sit down with the VPs and just decide, okay, overall, what's the most extreme that we can do to still keep people safe and still keep them coming to work, and just execute it, throughout Mattel. So even like now in Texas, where they're being a little lenient about masks, we're still saying, no, you abide by everything that we've already put in place. Like what you do in your personal life, we really don't have control over, but you work with other people, you expect them to keep you safe. So we kind of expect you to keep, think about your coworkers as well. Yeah, we just had to set the most extreme boundaries and just keep that throughout Mattel. Because otherwise, people would just be well, we could do it like this in China. We could do it like this in Mexico. I was like, no, we're
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Kind of have to abide by kind of common protocol, I'm assuming, through the facilities to keep it, as you said, just to keep, I mean, bottom line, to keep people safe
Yeah.
so that they can come back to work each day and support their family. And interestingly, so you transitioned from healthcare to manufacturing. First, I think with Amazon, and then in recent years to Mattel. So that must have been scary to make that leap from a totally different field industry to then hop into manufacturing. What prompted you to do that? And what was that like, leaping from one industry to another and kind of learning a whole new area of kind of work?
So what prompted me was I actually had gotten injured at work. A nurse told me, "Hey, this patient's ready to go. They can totally stand up, get in the car. Just roll them in the wheelchair to the car." And so I did that, and I've been down to like lock the wheelchairs to help her up, and she was getting up, attempting to get up before I leaned back up, and her and all 507 of her pounds just came crushing down on me. I thought I saw
Um,
Jesus. I wasn't sure. It was bad. And so, that's on the job. I was injured on the job, right? So there was nothing in place. Like I was paying my own medical bills. I was paying my own prescription. I was like, this is crazy. I should not have to be responsible for any of this. Like, I didn't ask to go out there and get hurt. I was doing something for a nurse. So when I started looking into like what should happen and how things should go, and realized it was nothing like that. And I was like, you know what, that's crazy. Like, we're healthcare, and nobody's responsible for our health. And but we have to come to work every day to do the job, to keep other people, safe and healthy, and everything that goes along with that. And so that's what really just prompt my change. Like, once I started like researching and looking into it, I was like, well, no, this is interesting. Let me see what schools are saying about this. Let me see what the pay is for this. And I made the switch, and it was super scary because in healthcare, I'd worked in ER for years, and I was top notch. Like, if you wanted to save a life, you were calling Shameka because she could do chest compressions like she lift weights. Okay, that's what the doctor said. So going from an industry that I can just do with my eyes closed to now I am brand spanking new somewhere like Amazon. We all know what Amazon is all about. It's like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I got? What if I don't know? How are people going to be? I was nervous. It was quite a change. Then I had to move away to get a job. So yeah, new job, new city. But I adjusted. I did well, I think.
so what was that first year like, moving industries, starting a new company, new city? Did you have what got you through it?
I think so. When I did start at Amazon, our building was brand new. So that meant, everybody in there was new. So, you
Okay.
did have people that came from like a different Amazon building and helped set that one up. But like basically, especially for my team, everybody who was there was brand new to Amazon. So, we all had to learn together. So that made it a lot better. And Amazon creates like a really fun environment to work in. So I mean, that I just thought that was great. Like, they're super appreciative of the employees. Like, they really recognize like that these people work really hard. Like, I could never stand and do what they do. And they treat them really well. They make it a fun work environment, which it helped a lot. It makes you want to go to work. So that was huge. And I end up learning a lot from there, a whole lot.
Are there any pieces from that Amazon experience that you've taken with you to Mattel in terms of the culture, the fun, any of the things that they did as it related to, your work there that you've taken forward?
I tried to bring the fun to Mattel, but the reason being, you have people that have been at Mattel for like 20, 25 years. And, when you've been at a job that long, the old saying is, well, we always did it that way. And so I've had to, like, now going from working with new people with my brand new ideas and getting to do what I want with them to, okay, how do I get the people to stop saying they've always done it this way because you've been doing it wrong, but I can't tell you that because then you're really not going to want to do what I have to say. How
Right.
do I get you on board? And so eventually, I just had to be creative. I had to make them think they came up with it themselves.
Yeah.
So it was quite a transition. I had to bring the fun, and I created different safety challenges. If you went so many days without an injury, I'd buy that particular team lunch or something. Just really trying to show their employees more appreciation.
And appreciation can go such a long way. And I
Yes.
think so often, and maybe it's just again, these, what is it, 4 generations that we currently have in the workforce. I think that we're all motivated very differently. And I think perhaps that generation that's just on the cusp or has just recently retired, perhaps maybe a larger majority of them weren't motivated by that recognition, or maybe they didn't appreciate as much kind of collaboration and teammanship, which you see more in younger generations. But it's interesting that you're kind of working with some of those innovative new programs or ideas to kind of try out to help motivate these existing generations who have that idea of, hey, we've tried that, or we've already done that and that doesn't work, or this is how we've always done it, so we're going to continue that way. But that's definitely hard to dismantle once it's been in place for 20, 30 years at a company. So, workplace, obviously lots of safety issues as it relates to COVID, keeping people safe. And then a whole new, I'm sure, cadre of issues as they relate to vaccinations, getting people immunized. How do you employ that at a company and facility level? What are the other things that you combat as it relates to workplace safety issues?
I would say just overall like basic safety training. So in a couple of our DCs, they hire more temporary workers than we have like regular Mattel workers. And so you always would find that it's the temporary workers who would end up injured. And management tends to have this idea that when someone is injured, it's their fault. What did they do wrong? How did they do that? And you really don't want to think that way. Like you have to figure out like how did the process go wrong, not the person. Because once you start labeling the person, and employees around them realize that, it makes people scared to come forward and say when they actually got hurt.
I've worked with quality professionals and safety professionals for many years throughout different courses of my career. And it always seems to stem back or steer back to process and procedure. If you have the right processes and procedures, and if you're communicating and training on those processes and procedures in an effective way, in a regular way, especially with a temporary workforce that you've got coming in, then you should be able to be more successful in avoiding a lot of those injuries or failures or safety incidents, for sure.
Exactly, exactly.
Are you feeling inspired by our guest manufacturing journey? Elevate your own path to success by enrolling in an education program produced by the Women in Manufacturing Education Foundation. The WIMEF creates opportunities for you to collaborate, network, learn, and grow through our programs, which are built for individuals from all areas of manufacturing, from production floor leaders to the C-suite. Graduates gain actionable insights and competencies needed to grow in the manufacturing space. For more information on the educational programs delivered through the Women in Manufacturing Education Foundation, please visit our website at www.wimef.org. So women in manufacturing, I'm sure, make up a percentage of your workforce at Mattel. Is there one significant workplace issue that you've seen impact women in manufacturing at your facilities? One that's more significant perhaps than others?
Basically, kind of the same. Like they just don't feel like they have a voice, and that's more for like the shop floor women. I remember a time, and it made me so mad. I was meeting with one of the new operation managers, and a supervisor was letting him know that a female in his area wanted to apply for a job that was coming up, but he didn't want her to leave because she was the only one who knew how to run the report. And I'm just standing there like, I can't believe you even having this conversation in front of me. Like, I'm not a woman, but okay. And so he said, can we not let her leave until we get somebody in for her to train? And he was like, well, yeah, we can look into that. And I was like, well, wait a minute. No. I said, why you can't run the report? Well, she's the only one. Why can't you sit down next to her and learn the report? Like, why can't you train if she's that good? Why can't you make sure she's next level and be a lead and she won't have to lead? Oh, well, her attitude is bad. You think my attitude is like, that's why the women on the floor feel like they don't have a voice because you have people chopping them down in their face, behind their back. There has to be a change. Like someone should not have enough control to say, so and so shouldn't get this promotion because I need her here. But I don't want to promote her either.
How are you advocating or helping that woman, other women get recognized for their talent to help them advance, to help them have opportunities?
I introduce women in manufacturing to all my sites, every site I visit, every state. I make sure they know if there's not an organization here, let me know. I know Allison personally. We can fix that. Like sign up for the classes. Like this is what we're talking about all the time. Like you have a voice, you can use it. You can use it.
Right.
Like don't be me when you use your voice, but you can use your voice. Don't feel silence.
Does your current company have like a women's affinity group or an ERG for women?
So there was a group, but it was mainly for like the women in the corporate office. It was mainly for us. And so now, since introducing them to women in manufacturing last year, and everyone just seeing all the positivity, and I was able to get more women off the floor involved. Now they want to create something for them within Mattel as well to be a part of with women in manufacturing as well. So I was very very happy to see them do that because I appreciated that at my level that they offer something, but I'm a little, I'm established in my career. I feel like, the women on the shop floor really need that opportunity. We need to know, are you trying to grow in the company? Are you trying to go, like, what are your goals? What are your plans? What can we help you with?
Yeah, they need advocates and they need people who are going to be champions and listen and help. And so I think it's great that you're taking that role, helping these women who are in production. And so I have to laugh. I was looking at that your first job was as as a cashier at a local grocery store in your hometown. That was one of my first jobs as well. I still have nightmares about working the express line at the grocery store. That was the worst. Like it was fast paced. It made the time fly by. But I remember the stress and how angry people were because they selected the express lane and they want to get out quickly. And then you'd have an issue with a price check or something else. Were there any lessons learned from your first job at your local grocery store?
Oh, probably so many patience. I knew that I didn't really want a career to have direct involvement with people on like a retail level. I knew like that was not going to be my thing because the customer's always right, and it's like that's hard to open your mouth and say
Yeah.
when you know they're wrong. It let me know that that was not my field and that I should go to college.
In your career, then you went and then you eventually signed up for the Army Reserve your senior year of high school. So what led you to the military? How did you find that pathway to get into the reserves?
I remember a recruiter coming to school to talk to me, and I was always just a baby, a homebody. I was my mom's only kid for like 17 years, and I was like, I want to do something. I want to do something without my parents. And I signed up, got there, and boy, did I cry. I wanted my mama, and I was like, "You got to figure out a way to get me back home." And she was crying, "Yeah, I'm going to do it right now." My dad was like, "No, she went. You leave it there." But it was the best experience of my life. It was like that was my first time in life, like meeting people from other places and just interacting with people, learning about them learning about me. It was a time of my life. And then I already loved outdoors. So when we went backpacking and camping, you have the real feminine was like, oh my God, and my nails. And I was like, girl, I'm getting in this dirt. Like, I'm all for this. But it was a time of my life. It was the best experience. It was the best experience.
And how many years were you in the reserves?
For
4 years. Wow. So as a woman in the reserves, were there a lot of other women? Were you one of just a few? And was your experience any different?
back then, I don't know how they do it today. We were all women on one side, and our drill sergeants were men. On the opposite side were all boys, and their drill sergeants were women. So we
Oh.
kind of really didn't have issues. We'd have a couple of issues if, we wanted to see the boys and their drill sergeant caught us looking and, they want to drop us and make us do push-ups. And I couldn't do a push-up for nothing in the world. But let me tell you, when I got caught watching the boys and I got dropped for push-ups, girl, I'm finna pump out these push-ups. The boys are not going to see me struggling.
Before we hop into fun questions, I'm really excited to work with you on the board of directors for the Women in Manufacturing Association this year. And I know you're already active in our local Texas chapter. What do you hope you can help us accomplish for women in industry during your service?
I know I've said voice like so many times, but like when you are really in manufacturing and touring and walking one of your facilities and just see how uncomfortable women are to just to speak or stand up or say something, it's just like, girl, just say it. They really don't feel empowered. And so, I really want to be a part of the process of, making sure, like, if you don't feel empowered at work or you feel you don't have the right tools or you don't know the right conversation, that, there's a platform where we discuss these things and there's some takeaways for you. I just really want to see us, just be able to have that voice and not be scared about having that voice. We shouldn't have to go home and voice it to our families. We should be able to leave work relieved.
Yeah. And to feel supported. And as you said, to have that voice.
Right.
So fun stuff, some fun questions. So where was the last place that you traveled and where do you hope to travel next?
So the last place I traveled was actually Louisiana. I went home to see my parents because of COVID. I hadn't seen them in a year, and that's different for me and for them. So I was able to go home, eat tons of good food. It was great. The next place I'm hoping to travel, I actually just booked, was for Michigan for the WIM board because I've never been to Michigan before. And I am so looking forward to that trip.
Oh, I'm excited you're going to join us. I love Michigan, Northern Michigan. It is one of my favorite places, and I selfishly help steer our summer leadership conference there. You've had a really neat journey and career as you've moved from one industry to the next. You've gotten to grow your career in safety and continue that journey with NAS certification. As you look at new generations of women coming into manufacturing and younger professionals looking to select a career, what piece of advice would you want to share with this next generation of women in manufacturing?
Be like Nike. Just do it. Just do it. There's, as women, we think and then we overthink, and we think because we've overthought it that it might not be, but no, just do it. Just do it. I was the queen of overthinking. I was like, I'm old. I can't go back to school. It's too late. I'm not going to learn the same. Oh my God, I can't move out there for a job. I don't have any family or friends there. What am I going to? It's been great. Just do it. You got to just do it. You got to take the chance, because if you don't take the chance, you'll never know.
Well, I have so appreciated having you on our podcast today and having the opportunity to chat with you virtually. And again, I can't wait to meet you in person. So thanks so much for being a part of our dialogue today, Shameka.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to Hear Her Story, a podcast produced by the Women in Manufacturing Association. Be sure to share, review, and subscribe to Hear Her Story on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen.